Part 14. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 131. Li Yuan felt very bored as he listened. He had already learned this kind of course in his previous life. Today, the lecture given by the professor named Sun was very lively and interesting, and Lucia, Yijing, Wu Hao and others listened with great interest. Li Yuan answered the text message boredly. Biwuxi, husband, what was your first class? Our first class was advanced mathematics. It was a bit difficult and I didn't understand it well. Can you teach me when you have time? Li Yuan, Xiaobai, why do you think I know advanced mathematics? Biwuxi, husband, you used to be very good at math. You were number 1 in our class. Li Yuan, you'd better listen to the class carefully and don't use your mobile phone in class. I don't like girls who have poor grades and fail the class. Biwuxi, I won't fail the exam. I still want to get a national scholarship. Li Yuan thought to himself, is it so easy to get a national scholarship? Still in the 985 university where top students are everywhere. However, when I thought about it, Biwuxi scored more than 640 points in the college entrance examination. She was really a female academic master. She was much better than him who got into Xiamen University by missing out. Wait, Zhong Tingyu and Xiaz Haijin also seemed to be female top students. Li Yuan's expression changed and he murmured in his heart, should I fail the final exam on my own? That would be too embarrassing. Forget it, just make a surprise attack when the time comes. Wouldn't it be nice to let baby's Haijin give me tutoring lessons in private? After returning from rebirth, Li Yuan had long forgotten all the knowledge he had learned. Fortunately, the major he chose was computer science, and he had been a part-time programmer for several years in his previous life. Although he was not good at studying, it was not a big problem to cope with the exam. If you study biotechnology, physical and chemical engineering, etc., you will have a big problem and you will definitely fail the course. As for the compulsory subjects of advanced mathematics and English in college, just leave it to chance. If you can't do it, you just can't do it. Anyway, his first purpose of coming to Daxia University was just to use the platform of Daxia University to get to know more people and gain the status of an alumni. After Lin Yue and her team complete the ZHI website, they can start promoting it. The ZHI campus network plan is related to the future industrial layout, and we cannot be careless. I don't know if the plan I made is feasible. I didn't know much about this aspect in my previous life, so I relied on my intuition to cross the river by feeling the stones. Li Yuan thought to himself. Before starting a business, he thought it was easy. But when it came time to start his own business, it was really complicated. Many matters require his personal decision-making and personal scheduling. The company is now only a small company with 20 people. In his previous life, he was an ordinary college student, with a pretty good height and physique at best, but in the northern region, this kind of height was nothing. It's really unremarkable. But if he doesn't start a business and only invests, he has no good way to make money except investing in real estate, a few stocks, and Bitcoin. Besides, he still has a little bit of ambition in his heart, which requires a name, like Jingzi Lu, Alima, Rebus, etc. If the ZHI website does not develop smoothly, then consider making milk tea, or the simplest way, invest in real estate, use rent to support loans, buy more than 100 houses, and after a few years, you can have hundreds of millions in assets. Taking advantage of the hard-earned free time, Li Yuan began to formulate money-making and investment plans in his mind. He still has more than 20 million in cash on hand, which has been kept in his bank card and company account. If money is not used to make money, it would be a waste. The current stock market has begun to gradually recover. the domestic system and economic aggregate are much weaker than those in Western countries and some other small countries due to the impact of the global economic crisis. After the economic crisis, everything will inevitably recover, and the stock market will see a rise against the trend. Li Yuan browsed financial news on his mobile phone for a while, trying to find some inspiration. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary person, and he never traded in stocks. He knew nothing about the stock market. Just remember that those well-known Super Bowl stocks will continue to rise, and as long as you buy them, you will make a profit without losing money. Suddenly, a piece of financial news caught Li Yuan's attention. Affected by the economic crisis, the Hong Kong stock market has dropped to HK $7.8 per share, reaching a historical freezing point, according to reliable sources. Warren Buffett, the stock investor, is suspected of being interested in Beacon shares and is preparing to buy a large amount of shares. Pre-orderers should hurry up. When Li Yuan saw this financial news that looked very much like pheasant news, other people of his generation might have laughed it off. But he was a reborn person. Li Yuan was slightly stunned. He seemed to have some image of this incident in his mind, but he couldn't remember it clearly. Biguandi was still very average at this time. In China, joint venture cars and imported cars dominated the auto market, and there was not much market for domestic cars and new energy vehicles at all. Therefore, affected by the economic crisis, Biguandi's shares fell to freezing point this summer. Thinking of this news again, Li Yuan vaguely grasped a clue, and the dusty memories of his previous life seemed to be gradually reviving in his mind. He vaguely remembered that Buffett, the stock god, seemed to have indeed injected a large amount of funds into Biguandi's stock market. As a result, Biguandi's confidence in the stock market was greatly boosted, and it seemed to have increased more than 10 times in a short period of time. He couldn't remember the specific situation. Li Yuan thought in his mind, if what he remembered was true. It is a good investment opportunity, with a short cycle, quick results, and absolutely guaranteed profits. Even if there was no capital injection from the stock god Buffett, he really remembered it wrong, and now he would not lose any money if he bought it at a lower price than Biguandi's stock price. It has already fallen to the historical freezing point. How low can the stock price go? And it won't be long before Biguandi will soar into the sky, and even challenge Tesla, accounting for half of the world's new energy vehicles. Before his rebirth, Biguandi's new energy vehicles were already all over the streets. The styling and comfort are also really good. Being Biguandi listed on the Hong Kong stock market, you first need to open a Hong Kong stock account. It's just a little hassle and entrusting a securities institution to open an account. You can invest hundreds or even tens of millions before entering the stock market to try the waters. With Biguandi's current size, even if it falls, it won't fall too far, and you shouldn't be stuck. If it's really the same as the track in my memory, it would be an income of tens of millions. While Li Yuan was thinking wildly, the bell rang for the first get out of class at Youth University. What Professor Sun said is really interesting. Before taking this class, I thought it would be boring, but I didn't expect Professor Sun's lecture to be so exciting. I'm looking forward to the next class now. Hey, are you looking forward to the next class? My father is thinking about getting out of school at noon and going to pay homage to the statue of the great man in our school. Li Yuan listened to the discussion of Lucia and others and found it very interesting. The freshman year is probably the most serious and focused moment in most students' careers. When youth sprouts, finds a partner, releases hormones, or takes the initiative to show off, the situation will take a turn for the worse. Of course, the situation at 985 University may be better. One more chapter, at night. Chapter 117 Monthly income of 2 million, shocked female classmates. Second update, please subscribe. The second class is still in this public classroom, so there is no need to move the classroom. Li Yuan suddenly felt a familiar fragrance coming to his side. Looking back, Big Bear Girl Wang Zhirong suddenly appeared behind him. Li Yuan patted Lucia on the shoulder, smiled and said, "Lao Lu, your goddess is here to see you." Lucia turned around with surprise on her face. When she saw the sexy and mature Wang Zhirong, her heartbeat suddenly accelerated. Wang Ji came to the seat in front of Li Yuan, leaned over slightly, stared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes, and said softly, "Great talent." Li just left without saying goodbye. It's really heartbreaking. Lucia's blood was gushing as he watched, and there was blood oozing out of his nose. The deep ravine that could kill most girls instantly was shaking slightly, making Lucia, Wu Hao and others' eyes go straight. Li Yuan also found it very funny. This big bear girl is really weird. She has obviously been admitted to the 985 university and is considered a proud girl of heaven, but her character is really speechless. Li Yuan smiled evilly and took Lucia's arm, acting like a moon elder. "Classmate Wang, look at this guy next to me. He is 1.9 meters tall, a simple little virgin, with a great body. He is known as an automatic pile driver in the world. He looks thin when he is dressed, but he is fleshy when he is undressed. He can go to the hall and go to the kitchen. Is really a must-have for a good family man. Do you want to think about it and try another goal?" Wang Zhirong glanced at Lucia with beautiful eyes, and then compared with Li Yuan. Well, she read it right. They are indeed not on the same level. The contrast between appearance and temperament is too obvious. Lucia was a little embarrassed by Li Yuan's praise. Suddenly, her nose felt hot, as if something was flowing out. Wu Hao was watching the bears coming and going with his peripheral vision, when he suddenly glanced at Lucia and exclaimed, You, Lu, why do you have a nosebleed?" Suzuki-an couldn't bear to look away from his blazing gaze, and said with a wicked smile, "Is it because the weather is dry and the anger is too great?" Lao Lu is a bit angry and needs to vent his anger. Zhou Tianyu sat arrogantly aside. Seeing Lucia's appearance, he was speechless and joked. Lao Lu drove so fast every day in the dormitory. Then he took a look at the LED headlights and was blinded. Don't brag about it in the future. Lucia's face turned red as he was teased and ridiculed, and he was so ashamed that he was so embarrassed. He was embarrassed in front of the whole class and the goddess in his heart. He raised his head, covered his nose, closed his eyes, and moved the corners of his mouth, unable to speak. Li Yuan touched his pocket and forgot to bring toilet paper. He looked at his roommates who were watching the show speechlessly and asked, "Brothers, who brought the paper?" Wu Hao chuckled mischievously, "Who among the boys brings paper? We don't need our hands when we go to the toilet." Suzuki-an gave a thumbs up with a wicked smile, as expected of Brother Rishin. He is so awesome that he doesn't even use his hands to go to the toilet. Li Yuan glanced at Wu Hao suspiciously. Is this guy bragging? Yi Jing took out a pack of toilet paper from his pocket and handed it to Li Yuan. I have some more. Li Yuan quickly wiped Lucia's nosebleed. He turned to look at Wang Zhirong and said with a smile, "Classmate Wang, I suggest you give more thought to the sixth child in our dormitory. He is so angry and plays basketball every day, so his physical endurance is maxed out." Wang Zhirong glanced at Lucia with a half-smile. She had seen many suitors, but this was the first time she met a girl who was said to make her nose bleed when she looked at him. Interesting, very interesting. It also made her secretly proud. This girl is still very charming. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 132. But, I want to test Li's physical fitness. On the day of the military training, you could beat the instructor in push ups, so your endurance should be better. Wu Hao and Suzuki-an were very shocked when they saw Li Yuan and Wang Zhirong racing openly in this public place. They just drove in the dormitory, and it was really a bit embarrassing for them to drive with the girls and tell dirty jokes. The eyes of several people looking at Li Yuan were somewhat different. This guy was worthy of being the author of harem novels, and he was really thick-skinned. He is also really bold, he is not afraid of meat and vegetables, and his real girlfriend is sitting in front. In the front row of the classroom, Shenziu held Xia's Haijin's little hand, frowned, continued to play the role of her love counselor, and warned. Haijin, please go take care of Li Yuan. That foxy Wang Zhirong is taking the initiative to cheat again, talking and laughing with Li Yuan. Xia's Haijin pinched the corner of her clothes, her beautiful eyes looked behind her from time to time, lowered her head, and replied shyly, I don't know what to say. Shenziu also choked immediately and frowned, secretly hoping that Li Yuan would take the initiative to refuse and not be harassed by Wang Zhirong. But when I think of Wang Zhirong's character of going his own way and his fortunately mature dressing style, I can't help but worry about Xia's Haijin. Haijin, what I said before is right. Li Yuan is just a piece of tang monk meat. Girls with a little bit of beauty want to take a bite of it. You will have too many love rivals in the future. You must keep an eye on Li Yuan, otherwise he will be seduced by other bitches sooner or later. There are some things that are impossible to guard against. Women chase men. The veil between them is like a thin film, which can be broken by a poke. Xia's Haijin was stunned and said nothing. Li Yuan was indeed very popular, she could feel it. Li Yuan saw Xia's Haijin peeking over from time to time and smiled slightly at her. Looking at Wang Zhirong again, he was too lazy to continue arguing with her. If he didn't have a girlfriend, it would be okay to train and play with such a big bear girl. But among the 4 girls around him, none of them would throw Wang Zhirong out of the street. There is no need to be too big for the small. If it is too big, your hands will be a little unable to grasp it. When it is just right, it is the most wonderful feeling. Li Yuan glanced at the beautiful and delicious big white steamed buns and said lightly, not giving her any chance to fantasize. If he really tries to flirt with Wang Zhirong again, he doesn't know how many crystal pearls will secretly shed from his treasured girl. Classmate Wang, I'm sorry, I'm a picky eater and a bit of a germaphobe. Let's change the target. As soon as the statement came out, the classmates who were quietly eating melon next to them looked at Wang Zhirong in shock, and were very curious about how she would answer. Li Yuan is indeed Li Yuan. This kind of heart-wrenching rejection will definitely leave a shadow on Wang Zhirong's psychology. If I were Wang Zhirong, I would commit suicide by jumping off a building in shame. I am picky about food and have mysophobia, and Li Yuan's speech would be unpleasant. Haha, she asked for it herself. Li Yuan obviously already has a girlfriend, but she is still dressed like a fox. Why did she go to provoke Li Yuan? Does it make her happy to steal someone else's boyfriend? Who knows, I can't do that kind of thing anyway. I think Wang Zhirong is about to break his defense, and what Li Yuan said is too poisonous. That's what she deserves. Women who steal other people's boyfriends deserve to die. Wang Zhirong stared at Li Yuan, his body trembling violently, and his 2 bears, Big Bear Er, were also shaking angrily, as if they wanted to eat Li Yuan. She really had her guard down a bit. Others might not understand what Li Yuan said, but could she still not understand? What is picky eating and mysophobia? Doesn't it mean that she is unclean? Thinking of this, she was deeply shocked. All the hard work, careful dressing, and full makeup that took an hour were all revealed at this moment. Things that she had deliberately pretended not to care about were so important among other outstanding boys. Wang Zhirong looked at Li Yuan angrily. Li Yuan, who was originally handsome in her heart, suddenly became hateful and shouted. Li Yuan, you have gone too far. After saying this, Wang Zhirong wiped away tears, lowered his head and ran away, leaving the classroom directly. Wu Hao also looked at Li Yuan blankly, gave a thumbs up secretly, and exclaimed, Brother Yuan, you are a bit awesome. You actually said Wang Zhirong like that, I am convinced. Su Ziqiang frowned slightly, looked at Li Yuan, and reminded in a low voice. Brother Yuan, I think we are all classmates. You should refuse more tactfully. There is no need to make it so ugly and say so unpleasantly. Li Yuan smiled and did not answer, but Zhou Tianyu rarely helped Li Yuan by saying something. Li Yuan did the right thing. Since he doesn't like it, he should reject it outright. If he continues to pester her, other girls will be hurt. Zhou Tianyu said, and looked at Xia's Haijin in front of him. With a girlfriend like this, Wang Zhirong is nothing, not even the wildflowers on the roadside. Thinking of this, Zhou Tianyu was deeply jealous of Li Yuan. Why did Li Yuan get to know all those high-quality beautiful beauties first? I, Zhou Tianyu, am an expert in flowers and a sage in love, but I can't catch such a beautiful girl. I don't accept it. Li Yuan smiled, I am creating an opportunity for you. Only I play the villain and sacrifice myself. Who of you will take the initiative to chase after Wang Zhirong and scold me in front of her? Maybe I can take advantage of the opportunity and have a kiss with her. Lucia, who had stopped bleeding from his nose, asked seriously, Brother Yuan, is it really possible? Wu Hao stared at Lucia with big eyes, horrified, and exclaimed, Lao Lu, you don't really want to do it, Brother Yuan is just talking. Su Ziqiang was also shocked by Lucia's idea and advised, Lao Lu, you can't grasp a girl like Wang Zhirong, and she is not suitable for marriage. Li Yuan looked at Lucia, who was eager to try, with a strange look on his face, and didn't mind at all. Lao Lu, if you really like her, then take action immediately. Lucia looked serious, as if he had made up his mind. He stood up suddenly and prepared to chase out of the classroom. Wu Hao hurriedly stopped him. Sixth brother, are you really going? Girls like Wang Zhirong are not suitable for you. Lucia shrugged indifferently, looking for a girlfriend is not looking for a wife. Why are you so serious? Why miss the opportunity? Just like Brother Yuan said, hesitation will lead to failure, sincerity will be in vain, chase and try, just in case it succeeds. After saying that, Lucia chased out of the classroom directly under the shocked eyes of Wu Hao and Su Ziqiang. Leaving Wu Hao, Su Ziqiang, Yi Jing, and others looking at each other. Lucia, what he said seems to make some sense, but it is a bit too rogue. Sixth brother, is he serious? Did he really chase her? Isn't this a bit inappropriate? Sacrificing his own brother to chase a girl? Brother Yuan, you won't be angry, will you? Li Yuan shrugged and said indifferently, if I can really help sixth brother realize his dream, I can make some sacrifices. Anyway, it won't cost me a piece of meat. Zhou Tianyu also smiled and said meaningfully, in fact, what sixth brother said is not wrong. Finding a girlfriend is not finding a wife. Don't set those rules and regulations for yourself. If you want to find a perfect partner in all aspects, you deserve to be single for life. If you don't compare with Xia's Haijin, Wang Zhirong is actually quite good. At least she has a good figure and will never lack breakfast milk in the future. Wu Hao nodded in agreement. Tianyu has some truth in what he said. Suddenly, he realized that this kind of behavior is not a scumbag. You bastards. I'm a pure, loyal, good man, but you're going to corrupt me. I need to stay away from you. The second class has started, but Lucia hasn't come back yet. Li Yuan and the others looked at each other in bewilderment. Something is going on. Could it be that Lao Lu really took advantage of him? No way, no way. Is it that easy to get her? Aren't girls hard to get? If Wang Zhirong is not compared to Brother Yuan's girlfriend, she's actually pretty good, sexy, mature and full, pure and lustful. Just wait for Lao Lu to come back and ask him. However, Lao Lu is really a man of some means and courage. He dared to skip classes on the first day of college. Haha, compared to a girlfriend, skipping a class is nothing. Courses are temporary, but a girlfriend is a quilt. The second class was a computer science class, and Li Yuan listened a little more seriously. He used to work as a part-time programmer and basically learned everything by himself. Now I have a new life and a systematic learning opportunity, which is also very good. As the bell rang, Lucia hadn't come back yet. Wu Hao said speechlessly, Lao Lu is really awesome. I don't know where he went with Wang Zhurong. He asked me to bring his textbook back for him. Su Ziqiang was amazed. It seems that someone in our dormitory may be single again soon. Li Yuan hid his merits and fame, and smiled faintly, I will kill Lao Lu later. This son of a bitch is really capable. Not only dare to say, but also dare to do. He is worthy of being from Sichuan and Chongqing. Yi Jing patted Li Yuan's shoulder and reminded him, hey, brother Yuan, your girlfriend is here. Li Yuan turned around and saw Xia's Haijin standing timidly behind him, followed by the dog-headed military advisor Shen Ziyu. Immediately put on a smile and greeted, Haijin, Ziyu classmate, you haven't left yet. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan, lowered her head shyly, pinched the corner of her clothes, and looked a little nervous. Shen Ziyu curled her lips and snorted, it's all because I'm waiting for you. Haijin wants to have lunch with you. Wu Hao grinned and said, hey, brother Yuan, sister-in-law is waiting for you to have lunch together. We won't disturb your world of two. Bye. Su Ziqiang pulled Yu Jing, Jing, stop looking. Let's go. Brother Yuan is going on a date. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 133. It's okay, let's come together. I'll treat you in the canteen. Li Yuan was speechless, and he quickly pretended to be indifferent and spoke. This is after school, and with a few roommates, we can also provide cover. If he and Xia's Haijin really walked alone and went to the cafeteria to eat alone, they might really be exposed. Now that the time is not yet ripe, he can't think of any way but to delay it day by day. Wu Hao licked his lips, feeling a little moved. Wow, brother Yuan, you want to treat me again, that's so embarrassing. Su Ziqiang glanced at Li Yuan, then at Xia's Haijin and Shen Ziyu, feeling that this was a bit inappropriate. But the food in the canteen is really delicious. He asked softly, would you mind if you two beauties? Xia's Haijin was a little at a loss and looked at Shen Ziyu beside her with blushing cheeks. It was also her first time to have dinner with Li Yuan's roommate. Seeing the eager eyes of Wu Hao and Su Ziqiang, Shen Ziyu could only nod helplessly. She originally wanted Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin to have dinner alone. Okay then, let's give Li Yuan a good beating today. Wu Hao chuckled strangely, it's okay, brother Yuan is a rich man, he doesn't care. That's right, brother Yuan is a real rich man with a monthly income of 1 million. The living expenses of all our classmates together are not even 1/10 of brother Yuan's. Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin, smiled and asked, Haijin, please call your other roommates. Let's get to know each other in the two dormitories. Xia's Haijin nodded shyly, well, I'll call them. Along the way, more than 10 people walked together in tandem, heading towards the small canteen. They were peaceful along the way, and Li Yuan quietly breathed a sigh of relief. It's still the same small cafeteria, with the same seats, and 2 people from the dormitory sitting together. Several people were chatting, and then the conversation came to Li Yuan. Gao Xian asked excitedly, Li Yuan, I would like to ask, can I also write online novels? Is writing novels so profitable? Can I ask, how much money do you make in a month now? Girls such as Ji Chen Chen, Li Lanrong, Shen Ziyu, etc. also stared at Li Yuan curiously, waiting for his answer. The same goes for Wu Hao, Su Ziqiang, and Zhou Tianyu. They just know that Li Yuan can earn 1 million a month, but they don't know the exact amount of the royalties. Li Yuan smiled and answered, taking a middle value, The monthly manuscript fee is about 2 million, and it may become less and less in the future. The amount of the manuscript fee is mainly related to the number of subscribers and the number of updates. The more you write, the more you earn. The more. What? 2 million per month? That's too scary. Gao Xian exclaimed with a look of disbelief on her face. She thought that earning 1 million a month was an exaggeration, but she didn't expect that it was less. Ji Chen also opened his eyes in shock, showing deep envy. With 2 million a month, I can buy 2 houses in Shanghai with full payment. Thinking of this, her sense of superiority as a native of the Magic City suddenly disappeared. Although her family is pretty good and she has 2 houses in Modu, but compared with Li Yuan, it really is nothing. Shenziu also felt incredible. She suddenly understood why Wang Zhirong stalked Li Yuan. Chapter 118, First test of the website, my roommate wants to chase my girlfriend. 2-in-1, please subscribe. Li Yuan earns 2 million a month, which means he earns 60 or 70,000 a day, 2 to 3,000 an hour. Their monthly living expenses are only 5 or 600. For some good families, it is only about 1,000. It is scary to think about it. Li Yuan is not only the second generation of rich people as originally thought, but also the real super rich generation, beyond the limits of their imagination. Shenziu said blankly, Li Yuan, you can earn nearly 2 to 3,000 yuan just by eating with us. I finally understand why Wang Zhirong is stalking you. She is really good at planning things as she pleases. When Shenziu said this, Ji Chen and Gao Xian's eyes looked a little strange, and their expressions were a little unnatural. They always felt that Shenziu meant something. Li Yuan laughed and didn't want to discuss this issue. In the past few days, he was tired of pretending to be cool, and he felt boring after entering the sage mode. Change the topic. Don't keep talking about me. It feels like all my secrets have been stripped away. Wu Hao chuckled and said, that's because Brother Yuan is so awesome. To a certain extent, you are already a public figure. At least in our Daxia University, no one will know about it soon. People don't know. Perhaps you will be surrounded by readers when you walk on the street and ask for your autograph, just like those famous writers in the past, Xiaoxi and Han Han. Thinking of the possibility Wu Hao mentioned, Li Yuan suddenly trembled, waved his hands quickly, and said through gritted teeth, no, I just want to live a low-key life. If I know who exposed the news, I will kill him severely. This meal caused a lot of trouble in my life. Shenziu snickered teasingly, don't worry, if you are willing, the girls who want to chase you can line up from the bamboo garden to the plum garden. But, Li Yuan, you can't be sorry for Zhaijin. Zhaijin sat next to Li Yuan and just listened quietly. Even though she didn't say anything, she just sat there and saw a beautiful scenery. Hey, do you need to tell me that? Li Yuan quietly held Zhaijin's hand and said with a smile, you don't have to worry about that. Shenziu made an exaggerated expression, oh, you are showing your affection in front of us again, which is not suitable for children and is eye-catching. Zhaijin was held by Li Yuan's hand. She looked at Li Yuan with red cheeks, then quickly lowered her head, feeling very sweet inside. Seeing Li Yuan and Zhaijin showing affection, Ji Chen suddenly felt depressed and asked, I heard that there will be clubs recruiting in a few days. Which club do you want to join? Wu Hao asked curiously, student Chen, which clubs are recruiting? Ji Chen glanced at Wu Hao and introduced with a smile, it seems that there are school and department student unions and youth volunteer alliances, as well as various clubs, such as Taekwondo Club, Literature Club, Music Club, Roller Skating Club and other interest clubs. This weekend, there should be a recruitment event. Wu Hao joked with a smile, student Chen is well informed. Ji Chen smiled and said nothing. She is a native of Shanghai. Gao Xian was the first to raise his hand and said with a smile, I like to write some poems and essays. I want to join the literature club. I wonder if the requirements of the literature club are high. However, if Lee Dake signs up for the literature club, I'm sure the president of the literature club will welcome you. Maybe he will give you the position of president, and I can also take advantage of it. Li Yuan smiled secretly in his heart and said, the literature club in our school should be biased towards traditional literature, which is very different from online literature. Maybe people look down on online literature. Gao Xian stared at Li Yuan and suddenly suggested, then, we can also apply to set up an online literature club. With your influence as a great writer and a monthly income of 1 million, there will definitely be a lot of followers and responses. I will be the first to sign up. Ahem. Li Yuan didn't say anything. He always felt that Zhijian, a roommate who liked literature, had some special feelings for him. But they were just talking about some literary creations, which made him feel that he might have misunderstood. After the start of the school year, his luck with women was so good that he always had an illusion in his heart, this girl likes me. Shenziu smiled and said, I want to join the Taekwondo club. Learning Taekwondo can protect me and fight perverts and scumbags. Zhou Tianyu glanced at Shenziu and unexpectedly interrupted, I think the Taekwondo club is not as good as the Sanda club. Taekwondo is just fancy moves and can't stand a single blow. Shenziu immediately retorted, Humph, Zhou Tianyu, you underestimate Taekwondo. I learned it for several years before. I have strong practical skills. Generally, 2 or 3 boys are not my opponents. Zhou Tianyu pouted, what a coincidence. I also learned Sanda. We can try it when we have time. Shenziu immediately responded tit for tat, let's try it. Anyway, I think Taekwondo is more powerful than Sanda. Li Yuan looked at Zhou Tianyu and Shenziu with some confusion and weirdness. He thought to himself, is Zhou Tianyu interested in Shenziu? This is not impossible. Shenziu is the type that is more attractive. From his aesthetic point of view, in terms of appearance, she is second only to Xiao's Haijin, Xiang Yankaiu, Wang Zhurong and other girls in the class. However, Zhou Tianyu is a rich second generation and a veteran in the flower field. He is said to have experienced countless love affairs. How could he be interested in the relatively ordinary Shenziu? Li Yuan couldn't figure it out, and quietly put his head next to Xiao's Haijin, smelling her very nice fragrance. It was not any kind of perfume, but a bit like lavender shower gel. Ahem, Haijin, does Xiu have a boyfriend? Li Yuan's intimate action in public made Xiao's Haijin blush, and she answered in a weak voice, I don't know. Li Yuan continued to ask, aren't you on good terms with her? Did she teach you how to fall in love? Xiao's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan, then quickly lowered her head and answered shyly, well, Xiu, she seems to know a lot. Li Yuan said seriously, Haijin, you should also pay proper attention to Xiu and let her find a boyfriend. Look at my roommates. Li Yuan is very worried now. With Shenziu, a dog-headed military advisor, a simple treasure girl like Xiao's Haijin will be led astray by her sooner or later. Today, she dares to have breakfast with me, tomorrow she dares to check my post, and the day after tomorrow, she may dare to check my mobile phone. How can this be? I must find a way to find something for this dog-headed military advisor to do. If Shenziu could also experience the sweetness of love, she would definitely not have time to lead Haijin baby astray. Xiao's Haijin looked at Li Yuan in confusion and asked in a low voice, why? Li Yuan answered seriously, don't you think that falling in love is wonderful and sweet? Since she is your good friend, you should let her taste the sweetness of love. That makes sense. Xiao's Haijin blushed and glanced at her good friend who was still arguing with Zhou Tianyu. Suddenly, she felt that they were quite a match. This meal was very relaxing, and they talked about interesting things in college life, which made Li Yuan experience the feeling he had not felt for a long time. If the confession fails, Chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ryu Xiahua. Chapter 134. College life is the happiest moment in a person's life, it is absolutely true. There is no pressure of academic performance, no work pressure, no financial burden, no need to face the trivial matters of life, just enjoy life to the fullest and fall in love a few times. Who wouldn't like it? Lanyuan D-3223 dormitory, in the corridor. Li Yuan patted Zhou Tianyu's shoulder and said with a wicked smile, "Tianyu, you can do it. You found the target so quickly. You have a pretty good eye, and classmate Shenziu is generally pretty good too. Hurry up and work harder to catch her. I'm optimistic about you." Zhou Tianyu looked at Li Yuan inexplicably, frowned and said, "Li Yuan, what are you talking about? I have a relationship with Shenziu. When will I pursue her?" Li Yuan was startled. Could I have misunderstood? The way you two were quarreling at the dinner table seemed to be intentional. Seeing Li Yuan's expression, Zhou Tianyu suddenly understood. "Haha, Li Yuan, you are so anxious to bring me and Shenziu together. What is your crooked idea? Do you think I don't know about it?" Li Yuan said expressionlessly, "Then tell me what my plan is." Zhou Tianyu smiled, "We have all been here before. My girlfriend has a best friend who is pointing fingers at her. I know better than you how difficult it is." Li Yuan was stunned for a moment, and looked at Zhou Tianyu with a different look. Could this guy be the same as him? Zhou Tianyu glanced at Li Yuan meaningfully and said, "Li Yuan, don't overturn the situation." Li Yuan asked, "What kind of car can I turn over?" Zhou Tianyu stared at Li Yuan speechlessly. "We are here now, and you are still pretending to be with me? Don't tell me that you have no contact with Zhong Tingyu and that beautiful girl in Hanfu that day." Li Yuan was speechless. He had not thought so much before because he also thought that the relationship would change, so now all the secrets were exposed in front of Zhou Tianyu and other roommates. "Tianyu, are you still chasing Zhong Tingyu?" Zhou Tianyu replied calmly, "I chased you, but there was no response. I gave up. She likes you." Li Yuan's heart was agitated. "Mata, if Zhou Tianyu leaks a little bit this time, he will be betrayed." "Ahem, how can you be so sure? Since we met that day, in the past half-month or so, I have sent her flowers 3 times, called her 36 times, and sent 72 text messages. You know, she only replied once, and it was about you." Zhou Tianyu's tone was a bit off guard. He had never met a girl who was so difficult to woo. "Li Yuan, tell me, if it's not you she likes, can it be me?" Li Yuan was embarrassed by Zhou Tianyu's self-destruction. "This is so cool, right? Can you be called the saint of Guanyun love? Guanyun's first licking of a dog is pretty good. Hee, it turns out that everyone has the experience of being a dog licker, and Zhou Tianyu seems to be even worse than him. Once boys pursue girls with good looks like Zhong Tingyu and Baiwuxi, they will easily become lickers without knowing it. Maybe it doesn't matter to girls. There are so many people chasing them, does everyone have to respond? Do you all agree? Don't be too busy." Just like himself, in the past few days, there are also girls who got his mobile phone number and QQ number from nowhere, and they are constantly sending him messages, asking for help, and sending welfare photos. In fact, there were 2 girls who had lunch together today. "Tianyu, I think you can chase another girl instead. Zhong Tingyu is not your cup of tea, so why hang yourself on a tree? There are so many beauties in our Xia University, you can chase anyone you want." After hearing this, Zhou Tianyu did not refute, but suddenly smiled and said, "Li Yuan, don't tell me. There are indeed many good-looking beauties in Xia University. When I was sending flowers to Zhong Tingyu, I saw a very beautiful girl next to her. It seemed like she was roommate. That girl's appearance is not inferior to Zhong Tingyu's, and she doesn't look so aloof. She has a gentle and elegant feeling, so she should be easier to pursue. When Li Yuan heard this, he immediately understood who Zhou Tianyu was talking about. His mood suddenly exploded and he spoke righteously. Tianyu, don't look for a girlfriend in the same dormitory. You'd better change your target. Zhou Tianyu asked doubtfully, no, why? It's not like I dumped Zhou Tingyu and went after her roommate. That would be a bit embarrassing. The reality is that Zhou Tingyu didn't like me, so I changed my target. Is there anything wrong with pursuing her roommate again? Li Yuan really wants to give him a blow. What do you mean? Do you dare to think about your brother Yuan's woman? Do you want to learn from Yuan Hua? You're still known as the Saint of Love. You don't understand this. If you pursue Zhou Tingyu and she ignores you, as her roommate, the other one will agree to you. It's impossible to think about it. Girls have it. Comparison mentality, I won't want the garbage you don't want. Li Yuan finished speaking in one breath, suddenly realized that what he said was inappropriate, and quickly explained awkwardly. Tianyu, I'm not saying you're trash, don't get me wrong. I mean, you should find another target. Zhou Tianyu murmured to himself, but that girl is really beautiful and she looks very gentle. I think she should be easier to chase. I want to give it a try. As he spoke, Zhou Tianyu suddenly looked at Li Yuan suspiciously. Brother Yuan, wouldn't you tell me that that girl also has a relationship with you? Li Yuan quickly denied, haha, how is that possible? If you want to go after her, go ahead. I'm just suggesting it. It's up to you whether you listen or not. Li Yuan quickly slipped away after saying that. If he continued, Zhou Tianyu would see through him. Zhou Tianyu looked at Li Yuan in confusion, and the strange feeling in his heart became more obvious. He just said it casually, but Li Yuan's reaction was unexpectedly big. Could it be that Li Yuan also has a relationship with Zhou Tingyu's beautiful roommate? That's unlikely. How dare he do that? This will definitely backfire. Li Yuan returned to the dormitory in a bad mood. Zhou Tianyu was a bit difficult to deal with. Why did he aim at him and take advantage of him? Zhou Tingyu, by Wuxi, if he hadn't acted early, his target might have been Xia's Haijin. Wu Hao looked at the time and asked in confusion, it's almost 2 o'clock, why hasn't Lao Lu come back yet? What took him so long? Could he have gone out to do something bad? Su Ziqiang smiled wickedly, it's not impossible. In fact, Lao Lu is not bad. He is 1.9 meters tall and can be considered strong. If he dresses up a little, he is also very stylish. He is a natural clothes hanger. Besides, there are many girls who like the cutest height difference. Wang Zhurong has some of them. Ahem, dry wood meets fire, and it is very likely that they will explode in one shot. Damn it, Lao Lu won't really help me get rid of singleness. Yi Jing suggested, call Lao Lu. There is a computer major class in the afternoon, and the teacher may call on his name. If he is called on and reported on the first day of school, it's not good. Okay, hee, I hope this call won't ruin Lao Liu's good things. Wu Hao picked up the phone and prepared to call Lu Jiaoluo. Suddenly, the dormitory door was opened. Lu Jia looked inside furtively, and walked in on tiptoe. Sixth brother, you finally came back. How was the battle? You are really capable. You have been away for so long, you really won't take advantage of us, right? Yes, tell me quickly, we brothers are very curious about what happened between you and Wang Zhurong after you chased him out. Li Yuan was also very curious. Lu Jia and the Big Bear sister Wang Zhurong really had something happen. Seeing that the 5 people in the dormitory were staring at him, Lu Jia looked a little embarrassed and shy, and hesitantly said, why don't you take a nap? You must take a nap. If you don't take a nap, you will not be energetic in the afternoon class, and you will easily feel sleepy, and the learning effect will be worse. Zhou Tianyu impatiently interrupted Lucia's topic change method. Sixth brother, don't change the subject. The brothers are waiting. Come on, don't waste time. Tell us what happened later. Yes, sixth brother, tell us quickly. The flowers I waited for are all withered. Lucia was a little embarrassed to speak up. What happened today was indeed very dreamy and made him feel very unreal. Lucia looked at Li Yuan and said sincerely, Father, thank you for your advice. I think I'm no longer single. Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise, I think I'm no longer single? Did you really get Wang Zhurong? Zhou Tianyu also cursed, no way, it's only been 3 or 4 hours, and you've done it? How far have you two reached? Did you really go out to get a room? Wu Hao also came over, sixth brother, tell us quickly, how did you do it, and why should you thank brother Yuan? Suzuki-on glanced at the chat history on his mobile phone, and his expression was unnatural. He suddenly felt like a clown. Asking about each other's well-being on the phone is useless. Zhou Tianyu continued to ask, no way, is it really that easy to get started? Why don't I believe it, Lao Lu, tell me quickly. Lucia replied hesitantly, after I chased her out, I looked around and found her. I saw her crying alone in the flower bed, so I walked over and scolded brother Yuan severely as he said, and then, that's how it was. Wu Hao urged, Lao Lu, keep talking, what's wrong with you, why did you stop the key plot? Lucia's slightly dark face was a little embarrassed. He was used to driving, but he was a little embarrassed at this moment. Well, this is a bit too private, I won't say more. Lucia was a little anxious under the questioning of several people, and he lay on the bed pretending to be dead. No matter how Wu Hao and others questioned, he didn't respond. This guy Lao Lu must have completed the last step, otherwise he wouldn't be embarrassed to say it. You'll know if you secretly observe Wang Zhurong's attitude in the afternoon. However, shouldn't we ask brother Yuan for advice? In order to help his brother get out of singlehood, brother Yuan is willing to bear the infamy himself. What kind of selfless dedication and sacrifice is this? Brother Yuan, if another girl confesses to you, if you continue to use this trick, whether we can get out of singlehood depends on you, brother Yuan. Li Yuan laughed and scolded, get lost, if you want to get out of singlehood, work hard yourself. Or ask Lao Lu for advice. I just realized that among the 6 people in our dormitory, he is the most awesome. When he finds an opportunity, he will bravely attack and win it in one fell swoop. This kind of courage is worth learning from you. Wu Hao nodded enviously. Although Li Yuan doesn't like Wang Zhurong, a mature and sexy big bear girl, he thinks she is still good. Thinking about it, he secretly regretted it. If he had the courage of Lucia and chased her out, maybe he would be the one who got close to her. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 135. Brother Yuan is right. This guy Lao Lu usually talks a lot about things. I thought he was just a talker, but I didn't expect him to be so courageous. He also has strong practical skills. So, brothers, brother Yuan is right. If you really want to find a girlfriend, you must act decisively. After passing this village, there will be no such store. The afternoon class was still boring. Li Yuan was not interested and almost wanted to skip class. He glanced at the message sent by Wuxi. Honey, what time should we go home tonight? Li Yuan was a little distracted, and thinking about the passion that night, he felt a little itchy in his heart. After his rebirth, he was still more than 2 months away from his 19th birthday, which was the time when youth hormones exploded most. College students during this period are tireless. The energy of a bowl of malatang can be used back and forth 8 times. Li Yuan replied, when you finish class, around 5 or 6 o'clock, I will go to the company first and then pick you up at the school gate. Biwixi asked doubtfully, going to the company. Do you need to go to the company often when writing novels? Li Yuan then realized that he had let the news slip. At around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Lin Yue called and said that the window of Zhihu.com was ready and asked him to check it. Well, I have a lot of work tasks now. I have to go to the company often and use people's money to do things for others. Do you understand? Biwixi, oh, thank you for your hard work, husband. I will wait for you to come back in the dormitory. Li Yuan, see you later, I have class first. After class, Li Yuan told Xiao's Haijin that he was going to the company. Xiao's Haijin asked in a low voice, Li Yuan, let me go with you. Li Yuan smiled and touched her head, Haijin, I just need to go to the company for a small matter, so you don't have to make a trip and have a good rest in the dormitory. Xiao's Haijin nodded obediently. She had always been very obedient. Seeing that she was hesitant to speak, Li Yuan asked gently, Haijin, what do you want to say? Just tell me and don't hide anything from me. Do you understand? Xiao's Haijin then said timidly, I want to send some money to Grandma and Ningning. Li Yuan looked stunned and took Xiao's Haijin's little hand. He felt her nervousness and had many doubts in his heart. Haijin, I asked you this, please don't be angry. Well, no. Well, what is your family's source of income? Xiao's Haijin suddenly raised her head and glanced at Li Yuan. Seeing that he was still looking at her with a gentle smile, her worries relaxed a little. She lowered her head and explained in a low voice. Grandma planted some land and fruit trees on the mountain. I could also do odd jobs when I was in school, and several uncles would sometimes help us a little. Li Yuan was stunned again. He had talked with Xiao's Haijin about interesting childhood stories a few days ago, but he didn't know that her family's financial difficulties were like this. He touched her head lovingly and said softly, Haijin, if you have any difficulties, please tell me. You are not allowed to hide it in the future. Do you understand? Yeah. Got it. Xiao's Haijin's voice was very soft, with tears glistening in her eyes. The difficulties I'm talking about are not just for you personally, but also for your family, Grandma and Ningning. From now on, don't hide anything from me. Xiao's Haijin's eyes were red and she nodded solemnly. Li Yuan took her hand, is the 30,000 yuan I transferred to you last time enough? If it is not enough, I will transfer it to you again. Xiao's Haijin responded obediently, enough, enough. She never touched that card. Normally at school, she never bought anything else except the things Li Yuan took the initiative to buy for her. Li Yuan didn't know this, but he could roughly guess that a girl who was thrifty and diligent in work study would not spend lavishly even if she suddenly had some money. Haijin, you are my girlfriend, don't have so much psychological burden. The money I give you is your salary. If others want it, I won't give it to you. If you want to spend it, you can spend it yourself. If you want to transfer it to Grandma and Ningning are fine too. When I have time, I will accompany you back to your hometown to see Grandma and Ningning. Seeing Xiao's Haijin's eyes turn red, Li Yuan held her hand tightly and asked, Haijin, do you miss Grandma and Ningning? Xiao's Haijin nodded heavily. Li Yuan smiled and said, then when we return to your hometown, we will bring Grandma and Ningning to the Magic City, so that you can see them every day. Xiao's Haijin's eyes lit up, then dimmed instantly. She shook her head in an insignificant way, not having the heart to tell him the truth. Thank you, Li Yuan. Li Yuan gently held her in his arms and felt her body tremble suddenly. Haijin, sometimes I may not do well, or I may not think properly, but I hope that we can always be honest between us, and don't hold anything back from me. Yes, Xiao's Haijin replied shyly. Some of the classmates who were walking around had already looked over. Then you go back to the dormitory first, I will go directly to the company. Seeing Xiao's Haijin leaving alone, Li Yuan remained silent. He had paid too little attention to Xia's hygiene recently and did not understand her situation in depth. I drove to the company. Lin Yue played the website page that she had made for Li Yuan to watch. Li Yuan frowned a little after reading it. The new website was too monotonous and it was not the kind that would attract users at first glance. Seeing that Li Yuan seemed dissatisfied, Lin Yue's heart skipped a beat and she quickly explained, "Mr. Li, this website has just been initially built, and some details have not been filled in yet. I would like to ask for your advice." Li Yuan thought of the content of the website that later generations often browsed and put forward his own opinions. Team Leader Lin, the website we built is mainly for sharing knowledge. This wet topic can be placed in a more conspicuous position, and the confession wall should also be made more conspicuous, special, and able to attract attention. As for the basketball community and football community, you can place them on the left and right respectively, and put some pictures of NBA and football stars on them. Li Yuan talked freely. He was a complete layman when it came to building a website, but he could make suggestions, and it was up to Lin Yue and the others to figure out the specific implementation. Lin Yue listened to Li Yuan's opinions and carefully recorded them one by one. "Mr. Li, give us another 2 days and we will definitely complete it according to your requirements." Li Yuan nodded lightly. "Our website is still in the initial stage of establishment. The groups we will target in the future will mainly be young college students. We must know how to grasp their psychology and expectations. Will our website be the most professional knowledge forum? No. Is it the most detailed sports forum? No. As for contemporary young college students, what are boys and girls most interested in? Girls are interested in love, relationships, and campus gossip stories, while boys are most interested in basketball, football, electronic technology products, etc. We have to start from this aspect and create a gimmick in each column, a gimmick that can attract college students to click in. You were once college students. Think back to what attracted your attention the most during your college days." Li Yuan spoke out all his thoughts at once. He is a college student himself, so he naturally understands the things he paid most attention to during his college days. On a university campus, if you ask male and female students what are they most concerned about, that must be love. Lin Yue and the other 3 group members nodded thoughtfully, seeming to be recalling their college careers. Lin Yue solemnly promised, "Mr. Li, I understand what you mean. We will come up with a new plan as soon as possible to complete this website." Li Yuan nodded, "Well, I believe in your ability to set up this hit website within 4 days. You have worked very hard. Keep up the good work." Lin Yue replied seriously, "Mr. Li, don't worry, we will definitely work hard, otherwise we will not be sorry for the treatment you give us." After discussing the website construction and other contents, Li Yuan took a look at the progress of the construction of Honor of Kings. Hu Zhenqiang and Xie Zheng both have real talents and practical knowledge, and the work progress is also advancing very quickly. The development of the game has officially entered the formal stage. Above. After giving the same encouragement, Li Yuan looked at the time and saw that it was almost 8 o'clock in the evening. Bai Wuxi had urged him many times. He could only drive back to school in a hurry. "Xiao Bai, come here. I'll wait for you at the west gate of the school." After a while, Bai Wuxi appeared in front of Li Yuan. He was also dressed up carefully today, wearing tight jeans and white sneakers. Seeing Li Yuan, Bai Wuxi came over with surprise on her face, naturally hugged Li Yuan's arm and said coquettishly, "Hubby, why did you come here? Let's go home together now." Chapter 119 Bai Wuxi of the Slave Family, Please Have Mercy on Me, must read, there are explosive points, please subscribe. Li Yuan looked at Bai Wuxi, who was young and beautiful in clothes, with a curvy figure, a charming face, and a charming smile. His heart was itching unbearably, and there was a burning sensation in his body that wanted to burst out. He couldn't wait to speak. Bai, get in the car, let's go home first. Bai Wuxi met Li Yuan's blazing gaze and seemed to have thought of something. Her face suddenly turned red with embarrassment. She said and got into the passenger seat. The atmosphere in the car was a little special for a moment. Li Yuan held the steering wheel with his left hand, put his right hand on the center console, and directly touched Bai Wuxi's thigh. I have to say that from Li Yuan's point of view, Bai Wuxi's legs are really good looking. She is nearly 1.7 meters tall but weighs less than 100 pounds. Her long legs are white, slender, smooth and straight, and can be as tall as Zhong Tingyu's. Comparable to long legs. He discovered that no matter in his previous life or in this life, he had a special hobby for long legs. Some people like light feet, some like a four waist, some like Xiongda Xiong Er, but he only loves long legs. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 136. Unfortunately, Bai Wuxi is wearing tight jeans today instead of a short skirt or black stockings. Li Yuan rubbed his right hand gently, and Bai Wuxi's face turned red with embarrassment. As Li Yuan's big hand continued to move, Bai Wuxi began to breathe heavily. When Li Yuan's hand got closer and closer to something, Bai Wuxi quickly slapped Li Yuan's big hand away and snorted. Stinky Li Yuan, stop touching and focus on driving. Li Yuan chuckled, I'm driving. Bai Wuxi rolled her eyes at Li Yuan shyly, I'll let you concentrate on driving. It's okay, I can drive both cars at the same time. Li Yuan smiled and asked curiously, Xiao Bai, do you like wearing stockings? Bai Wuxi asked doubtfully, Humph, why are you wearing stockings? Li Yuan replied seriously, well, wearing stockings feels better. Only then did Bai Wuxi understand what Li Yuan meant. She spat and rolled her eyes at him, bastard, I didn't expect you to have that kind of hobby. It's so unruly and not honest at all. When I was in high school, I was quite honest and gentle. Now I seem to be a different person. I feel a little frivolous. I sometimes wonder if you are like the protagonist Xiao Yan in your book, who was taken over by an old monster and reborn. Ahem, Bai, you have such a rich imagination. I've always been me, I just figured it out. Li Yuan chuckled, men are not bad, women are not loving. I used to be so honest, but you didn't agree to me. Then make some changes, work hard to make money, enrich your pockets, and straighten your spine. Isn't love just that? Here you go. Li Yuan thought about the 4 girls he had a relationship with, Bai Wuxi, Zhang Ziyu, Zhong Tingyu, and Xia's Haijin. If he was still the poor boy in his previous life, even if he met them, there might not be any results. Let's talk about treasure girl Xia's Haijin. How can she help her miserable family when she is so poor? What she needs is financial help, not so-called love. If she hadn't appeared, there might have been a boy who loved her deeply and had a good family to help her get out of the quagmire. As for Zhong Tingyu, let alone it. In the previous life, if it was his relationship with Bai Wuxi, it would be very polite for a boy from a poor family like herself to look at her, let alone kiss under the moonlight. Explore the smoothness of long legs in black stockings. There is also the little rich woman Zhang Ziyu. He and she are completely in 2 different worlds. If they are not reborn, there will be no communication at all. Moreover, as a top-notch little rich woman, what she likes is not money, but talent. Li Yuan cursed secretly, Muta, the rich rely on technology and the poor rely on mutation. It is true. When Bai Wuxi heard Li Yuan's words, her expression suddenly changed, her beautiful eyes were red, and there were faint flashes of tears. She looked at Li Yuan dreamily and spoke with a choked voice. Li Yuan, We're all like this. I've given everything to you. Are you still brooding about my rejection before? What exactly do you want me to do so that you will be satisfied and let go of the grudge in your heart? I've said before that we'll give it a try when we get to college, and I didn't explicitly reject you. Don't you secretly know how many boys I rejected in high school because of you? I gave you all the love letters they sent. Why did I choose to be my desk mate with you for 2 years starting from my second year of high school? Do you really think that you can help me with my homework? Li Yun, do you understand what a girl needs? What are you worried about? What is it again? Do you think I chose to be with you because of money? Among the boys who chased me in high school, there were many rich ones, as you know. But did I agree to them? Did I say a word to them? Li Yun, if you look at me like this, then let me get out of the car. Let's break up now and pretend that we have never known each other. Bai Wuxi's tone became more and more angry as he spoke, and all the grievances in his heart burst out, and tears fell in clusters. Li Yun was shocked when he saw Bai Wuxi's reaction. He casually said, "Was she so stimulated that she broke her guard?" Li Yun quickly reached out to grab Bai Wuxi, but she slapped him away. "Xiao Bai, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that." Bai Wuxi looked at Li Yun blankly, "Then what do you mean? Aside from not agreeing to your confession immediately after the college entrance examination, where else did I go wrong? Our future was not certain at that time. If we go to university in different places and our parents don't bless us, it will only hurt both parties in the end. I answered you like that. Where did I go wrong? I thank you for giving me a gift, but didn't I give you a gift? On your 17th birthday, didn't I also spend more than 500 on you and give you a basketball? It took me half a year to save up. What do you want from me, pocket money? I let you hold my hand. I rejected everyone for you. What did I do wrong that made you look at me like this? Tell me, where did I go wrong? If you tell me, I will apologize to you." Li Yun hesitated and didn't know how to answer. At this point in time, it seems that Bai Wuxi did nothing wrong. You can't use the sword of your previous life to kill people in this life, right? Bai Wuxi saw that Li Yun was hesitant to speak, and the more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt, and she expressed all the troubles in her heart like an explosion. "Li Yun, since the end of the college entrance examination, you seem to have become a different person. You ignore me and make sarcastic remarks. I am waiting for your call every day. I have insomnia at night and can't sleep. I take the initiative to send you messages and go to the stadium to find you. I thought that polite refusal at the 10,000 Buddhist Pagoda Park would completely lose you, and I wanted to desperately try to get you back. Do you know how happy I was when I found out that you applied for the same university as me in Shanghai? At that moment, I understood how I felt. I didn't understand feelings before, let alone what they were. Love, but at that moment, I knew it was you. I sneaked out a day early and came to the Magic City with Yuchen and the others. I just didn't want my parents to accompany me and wanted you to pick me up. Do you know how scared I was when I was alone at the train station? After you forcibly kissed me, you said such hurtful words, which made me sad for how many days. Why did you treat me like that? Why did you do that to me? Ignore me, why should you delete and block me? Is it possible that if I didn't take the initiative to meet you that day, we would never be able to do it again? After 3 years of relationship, couldn't you coax me more? Couldn't you be more tolerant of me? I'm a girl too. I also want to be loved and loved by others. I can act like a baby in front of you without worrying about you getting angry, being cold-blooded, or being indifferent to me. Woo-oh. Bai Wuxi cried as she spoke, as if she had released all the dissatisfaction and grievances in her heart over the past 3 months in one breath. Li Yun opened his mouth, not knowing how to answer, so he could only pat her shoulder with his hand, rub her head, apologize and comfort. Xiao Bai, it was my fault. Don't be angry. I'll cook for you when I get home. Bai Wuxi cried for a while, stared at Li Yuan with blurred eyes, and said sadly, Li Yuan, I feel that you don't like me anymore. Li Yuan was excited. Is a girl's sixth sense so accurate? Li Yuan quickly grabbed Bai Wuxi's hand and said affectionately, Xiao Bai, how could I not like you? If I didn't like you, why would I take the risk of slipping in the college entrance examination and apply for the same university as you? Why bother with you? You are together. But, I can feel that you don't love me as much as before. Bai Wuxi was still crying sadly. Li Yuan was heartbroken and directly found a parking space and stopped the car. Then, he unbuckled his seat belt, stretched his body over, pulled Bai Wuxi's head towards her, and kissed her forcefully directly into her eyes that were red from crying. Since words can't be said or explained, there is no need to explain. Practice is worth 1,000 words. Li Yuan, you bullied me again. Let me go, you are a big bastard. Bai Wuxi was gagged by Li Yuan and her body wanted to struggle, but Li Yuan didn't care and didn't stop his mouth at all, greedily sucking the sweet juice from the other person's red pussy. Woo, Li Yuan, please, don't be here, someone can see it on the road. Then have you forgiven me? I, stinky Li Yuan, I forgive you, go home. Hey, let's go home. Li Yuan then let go of Bai Wuxi, straightened his clothes, wiped his mouth, and felt happy when he saw Bai Wuxi, who had a blushing face, disheveled clothes, and a happy couple. You are so eloquent that I was almost shaken by what you said. If this was not a rental car and its safety performance was questionable, maybe it could try a special sport. Maid, if I had 1/10 of the courage in this life, I would have captured her long ago. Li Yuan's heart moved, he took Bai Wuxi's hand and said with a smile, Xiao Bai, come with me to see the car in the next 2 days. He currently only has one supercar given to him by Xiao Yuer, but that Lamborghini Reventon is too popular. It is estimated that there are not many available in the country, and it is not suitable for driving now. Moreover, the space of a supercar is small, which is not suitable for men and women to do business. With his tall figure, coupled with Bai Wuxi's height, ordinary cars will not work, and a spacious car or SUV will be more suitable. When Bai Wuxi heard that Li Yuan was going to take a look at the car, he stopped crying and asked softly, bad guy, why do you think of buying a car? Li Yuan chuckled, don't you think it's unsafe to do what you just did in someone else's car? If you have your own car, you will feel more at ease. No surveillance will be installed secretly. You can go further. Bai Wuxi didn't react at first, but after a while, she reacted, her face was as red as blood, and she spat hard. Humph, you stinky bastard, I'm telling you, don't even think about it, I won't agree to your bad habit. Li Yuan smiled strangely, haha, Xiao Bai, you don't agree with your mouth, but your body is quite honest. Bai Wuxi felt shy and angry at Li Yuan's shameless words, and stared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes wide open. Li Yuan, you big bad guy, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Okay, let's go home first. Bai Wuxi snorted, huh, I don't want to go home with you now. You must want to do bad things. Li Yuan, who was told what he meant, smiled and didn't take it seriously at all. He quickly started the vehicle and sped towards the Feiqui mansion community. When they were almost at the community, Bai Wuxi was a little panicked. Although she and Li Yuan had had that kind of relationship the day before yesterday, she was still blushing, her heartbeat was pounding, and her face was still flushed. Bai Wuxi's heartbeat quickened, Li Yuan, I'm a little hungry, let's eat something first. Li Yuan joked, let's go home and eat soy milk and fried dough sticks first, we can still be full. Bai Wuxi glared at her with her beautiful eyes, humph, you really don't love me anymore, I said I was hungry, and you gave me soy milk and fried dough sticks. Li Yuan laughed secretly. After all, Bai Wuxi was still a good girl who had just entered college. She didn't understand this kind of dirty jokes. She really thought that soy milk and fried dough sticks were edible. There is a supermarket at the entrance of our community. We can buy some vegetables, fruits, and meat from there and cook them at home. Bai Wuxi was moved. She had eaten Li Yuan's fried food several times when she was in high school. The taste was very good. Yeah, then I want to eat the fish-flavored pork shreds and braised spare ribs you made. Li Yuan agreed immediately, no problem, wait, I will show you my skills today. Only after a full meal can you have the strength to work. Bai Wuxi asked in confusion, is there any work to be done in the evening? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 137. Li Yuan answered seriously, of course, such a big house, you have to experience it all, you can't favor one over the other, life lies in exercise. Double exercise is more beneficial to physical health. Bai Wuxi pursed her lips, her willow leaf eyebrows stretched, and a smile hung on her cheeks. Li Yuan, you took me home just to trick me, right? Li Yuan asked back, oh, then tell me, how did I trick you? Bai Wuxi snorted, her tone was very arrogant, humph, your house has not been cleaned for a long time, you want me to clean it for you. Li Yuan almost choked on a nosebleed, looking at Bai Wuxi strangely, looking at her expression, it doesn't seem like she was lying. That Xiao Bai, you may have to work hard today. The room is very large, and there are a lot of places to visit. Can your body bear it? Bai Wuxi's white and bright forehead wrinkled slightly, blinked, and glared at Li Yuan. She always felt something was wrong. It seems that Li Yuan is not just talking about cleaning. Suddenly, she thought of the double sports that Li Yuan mentioned, and immediately understood everything, and her face and neck were instantly covered with blush. Damn Li Yuan, you bully me again. Hey, don't wrong me, tell me, how did I bully you? Bah, you big bad guy, you just bully me and don't understand. It's okay, you will understand after tonight. Damn hooligan, shameless, put me down, I want to go back to school. We're already in the community, where else can you go back, just follow me home obediently. Then you promise that you are not allowed to do bad things. Okay, I promise not to do bad things. Humph, why don't I believe it? After arriving at the community and parking the car, Li Yuan hurriedly pulled the shy Bai Wuxi to the supermarket at the entrance of the community to buy some home-cooked dishes. The two walked hand in hand in the green and lush neighborhood, their heartbeats accelerated at the same time, especially Bai Wuxi, who seemed to have a premonition of what would happen. His palms were sweating slightly, and he kept his head down, his face flushed. Li Yuan asked knowingly, Xiao Bai, why are you a little nervous? Bai Wuxi rolled her eyes at him shyly, because I'm afraid of you, a big pervert, around. Li Yuan grinned, Xiao Bai, have you practiced dancing before? Bai Wuxi asked doubtfully, I started practicing since elementary school, what's wrong? You still want me to dance for you? Humph, wishful thinking. Did Bai Wuxi really learn to dance? Li Yuan's eyes lit up and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It seems that he can try new moves tonight and develop a few more new postures. In the morning class, when the big bear girl Wang Zhurong said that she had practiced dancing and could unlock 108 postures, Li Yuan was moved for a moment. Dancers can indeed unlock many new postures and improve the experience of double sports. Otherwise, why do you think everyone likes female stars? The main reason is that female stars are not only famous, but also versatile, good at singing and dancing, and have a sense of conquest and experience maximum. Xiao Bai, you are really versatile, you can dance well, very well, very well. Li Yuan praised sincerely. Think about the hentai song and dance troupe that broke out in the previous life. Which girl is not a versatile and beautiful beauty? Just looking good is not enough to satisfy those big guys. You must be able to sing and dance well. Regardless of the East and the West, the top big guys play very flowery. Beautiful women are a scarce resource for the bottom, but for them, they are within reach. Can things that can be done by spending money be called things? Baiwixi glanced at Li Yuan and covered her mouth with a smile. Li Yuan, your smirk scares me a little. I feel like a little white sheep being targeted by a big pervert. Li Yuan smiled. Isn't that nonsense? You've come home with me, and you still want to be safe? Today, unless your parents come or your period comes, it won't work. Li Yuan led Baiwixi and went up the elevator. The burning desire in his heart became more and more obvious. When the door was opened, Li Yuan couldn't bear it anymore. He threw the vegetables he bought on the ground and turned around to pounce on Baiwixi, whose face was blushing. In an instant, Li Yuan's chin covered Baiwixi again, greedily demanding. Kicking the door casually, Li Yuan used both hands to explore and swim on Baiwixi's body. Baiwixi was soon dizzy and confused by Li Yuan's strong attack, and her clothes fell off piece by piece. Baiwixi's cheeks were red, and she hugged Li Yuan tightly. Well, Li Yuan, go to the bedroom, not here. Li Yuan used his hands and mouth at the same time, and was never idle. Xiaobai, it's okay, no one can see it. Baiwixi looked out the window, the sunset in the sky shone down, filling the room, and she cried softly, ah, please, don't be here, it's too embarrassing. Hurry up, go bedroom, otherwise, I will bite you. I will bite you later, kiss you first. Li Yuan picked up Baiwixi like a princess and threw her on the sofa. He, you will get used to it, don't be afraid. I will bite you gently later. Baiwixi quickly closed his eyes. You stinky hooligan, you are a big bad guy and a big pervert. He, Xiaobai, why do you have to add a big word, do you think so too? You stinky bastard, I don't want to care about you. Li Yuan quickly took off his clothes and pounced on him. After a while, Baiwixi quickly stopped Li Yuan's further movements and asked in a low voice, are you wearing that? Li Yuan pretended to be confused. What are you wearing? Baiwixi still had lingering fears when she thought about her conversation with Wang Yuchen yesterday morning. Bastard, you know what I'm talking about. I'm only a freshman in college and I don't want to get pregnant. Li Yuan stopped moving and asked, how many days has your aunt been gone? Baiwixi grabbed Li Yuan's moving hand. Humph, why do you ask? Li Yuan replied with a smile, let me see if it is in the safe period. Baiwixi understood instantly and rolled her eyes at him. Bah, stinky Li Yuan, you really have a plan, and you even study things like girls. Xiaobai, you can't accuse me wrongly. I am here for the happiness of the two of us and to improve the experience of double sports. Let's go, we've been gone for 3 days. Hey, that's good, it's a safe period. Li Yuan, tell me truthfully, was it your first time with me that day? Why do you ask? Humph, just answer my question. If you dare to lie, you will be dead. You are not allowed to touch me again. Li Yuan looked at Baiwixi's serious look and gave an affirmative answer. This was indeed his first time in his life, and the one left to the fifth girl did not count. This is not nonsense. We have known each other for more than 3 years. Apart from you, I have never pursued any other girl. Baiwixi was satisfied, rolled his eyes at Li Yuan, and snorted, Humph, I think you are lying to me. Li Yuan was speechless. How did I lie to you? How can you still not understand my situation? Thinking about Li Yuan's many tricks, Baiwixi felt something was wrong, and shyly asked in a low voice, then, why do you have so many tricks? Li Yuan responded as he should, Xiaobai, there is something called an island country action movie. Baiwixi asked in confusion, what is an island country action movie? Li Yuan glanced at Baiwixi strangely, not sure whether she was really innocent or pretending to be innocent. However, judging from her performance in high school and her college entrance examination scores, there is a high probability that she really doesn't understand. Li Yuan came closer and said something in Baiwixi's ear, which immediately made Baiwixi blush with embarrassment. Bah, 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 stinky Li Yuan, I didn't expect you to be so unruly and even look at such dirty things. Xiaobai, you are wrong. Island country action movies are the most exciting technical guidance for mankind. They benefit the world's 7.5 billion people. They can increase happiness, experience, and increase the population. They have a huge impact. Humph, you stinky Li Yuan, you have an unhealthy mind. Hey, you'll know right away whether Jian is healthy or not. I've learned so many action movies from island countries and I'll try them all in a while. Humph, Li Yuan, you are shameless and a big bad guy. Li Yuan, wash up first, it's not clean. Then wait for me for a minute. Hey, it's okay now. Well, please be gentle, I'm afraid, it will hurt a little. Hey, don't worry, I will be very gentle. The two of them tossed and turned, and at Li Yuan's insistent request, the new development unlocked a variety of postures. It started at 8 o'clock in the evening and ended at almost 10 o'clock. Baiwixi's whole body was limp, she had no strength at all, and she collapsed in Li Yuan's arms. Husband, I'm a little hungry. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 138. Li Yuan laughed wickedly and felt refreshed. Baiwixi was indeed a dancer. Her body was extremely flexible. Because she was a virgin, her body was particularly tight and her experience was maximum. Xiaobai, he, soy milk and fried dough sticks, are you not full? Baiwixi blushed and raised her pink fist to punch Li Yuan. However, her strength was not as good as that of a 3-year-old baby. After nearly 2 hours of double exercise, she, a little girl who had just turned 18, had already exhausted all her strength. How could she be a match for the strong and experienced Li Yuan? In the end, she had to endure the discomfort of her body and cooperate with Li Yuan. Baiwixi spat, "Puh, puh, puh, you big bad guy, can you be serious? I'm hungry." Husband, you said you would cook for me. Li Yuan didn't want to get out of bed either. Today was much more tired than the first time the day before yesterday. Although he was conscious that day, he drank a lot of beer after all, and his physical condition was not at its peak. Unlike now, my body, emotions, posture, etc. are all full, and I am in great shape. It's already 10 o'clock in the evening, and you're still cooking dinner. Baiwixi burst into tears. Wow, Li Yuan, you really don't love me anymore. You don't even cook for me when I'm hungry. Okay, don't cry, I'll do it. Alas, men are destined to work hard all their lives. When Baiwixi saw Li Yuan stand up, she smiled and hugged his arm and kissed him on the face. He, husband, you are the best to me, I'll reward you, muah. Li Yuan smiled, isn't your reward sincere enough? Baiwixi snorted, what kind of reward do you want? Li Yuan thought about it, looked at Baiwixi's smooth, radiant, and well-proportioned body that would make all men excited, leaned close to her ear and whispered. Let's do it again after dinner. Baiwixi quickly pushed Li Yuan away. Puh, stinky Li Yuan, I'm going to be tortured to death by you, you don't know how to be gentle with women, hurry up and cook, I'm so hungry, so hungry. Damn, it would be great if I could order takeout, I will make a takeout website sooner or later. Li Yuan put on his clothes while cursing. He was a little overworked due to excessive exercise, and his stomach was growling. Li Yuan was getting dressed when he heard his cell phone ring. He was startled and thought it was his cell phone. Suddenly he remembered that he had turned off his cell phone. That was Bai Weixi's cell phone. Xiaobai, your cell phone is ringing. Bai Weixi lay on the bed, not wanting to move at all. Li Yuan often plays basketball, and his physical fitness is already great. After the blessing of the reborn plug-in, he is far superior to ordinary people, comparable to professional athletes, which makes her unbearable. Honey, help me get my phone. I can't reach it. Li Yuan felt his legs go weak. He walked to the bedside and looked at Bai Weixi's phone. His eyes froze and he almost stumbled and fell. This call was from Bai Weixi's roommate and bestie, Li Yuan's moonlight goddess, dark-skinned and long-legged, Zhong Tingyu. Last night, he had just tried Zhong Tingyu's dark-skinned and long-legged legs. It felt great and left him with endless aftertaste. Seeing Li Yuan in a daze, Bai Weixi urged, "Honey, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and get my phone." "Oh, okay." Li Yuan handed the phone to Bai Weixi. Bai Weixi didn't hide from Li Yuan and answered the call directly. Zhong Tingyu's voice came, "Wei 11, it's 10 o'clock in the evening, are you still going back to the dormitory?" Bai Weixi whispered, "Tingyu, I'm going home tonight, I won't go back." Going home, Zhong Tingyu was slightly startled. Didn't she remember that Bai Weixi was not from the north? How could she go home? She asked curiously, "Wei 11, are you in Shanghai now?" Bai Weixi smiled happily, "Yes, I'm in Shanghai." Zhong Tingyu was a little surprised. Going home, and in Shanghai again, this means that Bai Weixi or Bai Weixi's family bought a house in Shanghai and settled down. "Wei 11, did your family move to Shanghai?" Bai Weixi looked at the spacious and luxurious bedroom, and Li Yuan who was tidying up the clothes thrown on the floor, and felt very sweet and happy in her heart. Li Yuan said that she was the hostess of this house. "Well, Tingyu, I live in the Magic City now." Zhong Tingyu suddenly felt a little envious. Although she came from Sicheng, which is very close to the Magic City, she was restricted a lot because of special family reasons, and naturally had no house in the Magic City. "Weixi, let's go to your house when we are free." "Okay, welcome to my house." Bai Weixi agreed immediately. She also wanted to introduce Li Yuan to her roommates. Li Yuan was shocked when he heard it, and suddenly had an ominous premonition in his heart. This is a sign that the Shura field is about to erupt. If Zhong Tingyu and other roommates come, and Bai Weixi insists that Li Yuan come to receive them, then he can only find an excuse to slip away, but sooner or later he will have to cover up the fire with paper. "Why do I feel that it is getting more and more dangerous, and it may be doomed at any time?" Li Yuan said to himself, sweating coldly, his heart pounding. It would be great if they were not in the same school as Xia Yuer. The reality is that Xia's Haijin, Bai Weixi, and Zhong Tingyu, three girls, are not only in the same school, but Bai Weixi and Zhong Tingyu are also roommates and best friends. It's scary to think about it. Li Yuan seemed a little uneasy while cooking in the kitchen. "I steamed a portion of rice, simply fried shredded fish-flavored pork, scrambled eggs with tomatoes and peppers, and made seaweed and egg soup, and the rice was ready." Li Yuan called into the room, "Xiao Bai, come over and eat." Bai Weixi had already put on her clothes and was lying beside the bed. She shouted shyly, "Come over and help me, I'm in a little pain." Chapter 120. Li Yuan, will you marry me in the future? 2-in-1, please subscribe. Li Yuan helped Bai Weixi to the living room. Bai Weixi looked at the dinner made by Li Yuan on the dining table. It was a simple 2 dishes and 1 soup, scrambled eggs with tomatoes and peppers, fish-flavored shredded pork, seaweed and egg soup, plus fragrant rice, with a smile on her pretty face. Her beautiful eyes stared at Li Yuan with a look full of happiness, her teeth opened slightly, and she was shy and timid. "Husband, Thank you. Li Yuan was indeed hungry. He handed a pair of chopsticks to Bai Wuxi and said with a smile. Why are you thanking me? Let's taste it first. I haven't cooked for several months and my skills are rusty. Bai Wuxi took a sip, her beautiful eyes were bright and shining, curved into crescent moons, and she looked at Li Yuan with a smile. Husband, the food you cook is still so delicious. If it's delicious, please eat more. I'm going to starve to death. Li Yuan secretly laughed in his heart. His cooking skills were average, so Bai Wuxi labeled him with a filter. Among men and women who are passionately in love, it is a big plus point for a boy to be able to cook, but it is only when he is passionately in love. After you get married, you have the pressure of work, daily necessities, car loan, housing loan, old age, and child care, and the food you cook is at the level of a hotel chef, which is of no use. Quarrel when it's time to quarrel, divorce when it's time to divorce. The two of them were sitting in the living room, eating dinner. Li Yuan suddenly had a strange feeling, which was similar to the day he cooked and ate with Xia's Haijin in Jiangnanyuan. He seems to have two homes and two girlfriends, one in Jade Mansion, one in Jiangnan Garden, and a real home in Jingxia Villa. It would be great if we could not disturb each other and live in peace all the time. We could just sit back and enjoy the blessings of being together. One is Bai Yueguang, whom I couldn't love in my previous life, and the other is the treasure girl I met in this life. The city is so big, it shouldn't be a big problem if I buy a few more houses and have a few more girlfriends. My requirements are not high, just the 4 of them will be enough. Li Yuan smiled with infinite longing in his heart. Bai Wuxi was eating the food and suddenly said with emotion, Husband, it would be great if we could keep going like this. A simple life, without the worries of fuel, rice, oil, and salt. You can be with the people you like every day, go shopping together, cook together, listen to music together, and travel together. We can settle down in Shanghai, have a house, a job, and a car. When we get married, we will have a pair of lovely twins, we will grow up together with our children, and we will be a family of 4, enjoying each other happily, without any emotional betrayal. Have always loved each other deeply. Li Yuan listened to Bai Wuxi's thoughts about the future and frowned secretly, with mixed feelings in his heart. Now, what he has in his heart is more of a revengeful mentality towards Bai Wuxi. If he talks about how much he loves her, he can't talk about it at all. After taking Bai Wuxi's first blood the day before yesterday, although I no longer hate him in my heart, I don't have the feeling of first love that I cherished in my previous life. If he were asked to choose to give up one of his 2 girlfriends, Bai Wuxi and Xia's Haijin, he would definitely choose to give up on Bai Wuxi without hesitation. A betrayal that will never be forgotten. Although there were many sweet moments in the 7 years of fish pond life in his previous life, the final outcome did not change at all. It was impossible to forget the things that were already in his memory. Just like a girl, no matter what, she will never forget her first man. No matter how much other men love her in the future, even if they sacrifice everything, even their lives, this will never change. The same goes for men, like himself. No matter in the past or present life, it is impossible for him to forget Bai Wuxi, nor will he forget the painful and unforgettable 7 years of youthful age. They all say let go, but who can really let go? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 139. Bai Wuxi was thinking about it, and suddenly looked at Li Yuan seriously and asked, Li Yuan, will you marry me in the future? Li Yuan was stunned by Bai Wuxi's sudden question and did not answer immediately. Seeing Li Yuan's hesitation, Bai Wuxi's tears instantly fell in grievance. Li Yuan, don't you plan to marry me in the future? Li Yuan was speechless. How could she be here? It had only been a few days since the relationship had been confirmed, and she was already thinking about discussing marriage in the future? It's a little too early. But at this time, Li Yuan had to explain and comfort him against his will. Xiao Bai, I didn't say I won't marry you in the future. It's just that we are only in our first year of college and there is still a long time ahead. Even if our relationship remains the same as before, we may not be able to pass the test of your parents. There are too many uncertainties in the future, but don't worry, I will work hard in this direction and try to marry you home. Listening to Li Yuan's explanation, Bai Wuxi stopped crying, turned from sadness to joy, and looked at Li Yuan with a smile like a flower. Humph, you still have some conscience, and you have lived up to my efforts. Husband, you don't have to worry about my parents. My dad just hopes that I can find someone I love. Someone who loves me doesn't care about the man's family conditions. As for my mother, Bai Wuxi continued to explain with longing, and made suggestions for Li Yuan, her future husband, with a smile. My mother's situation is quite special. She is not a native of northern Anhui. She comes from the Jiangnan area, Xiaozhu city, which is not far from the Demon City. My mother and my father were college classmates. After graduation, despite my grandmother's objections, she married to the northern Anhui area. My grandparents were furious about this and almost severed ties with my mother. Bai Wuxi stuck out her tongue playfully, looked at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes, blinked, and said with a smile. So, my mother often nags in my ears, asking me to find a boyfriend from the Jiangnan area and then settle down in the Magic City. After hearing this, Li Yuan smiled faintly, feeling even more uncomfortable, and his tone was a little stiff. Then I don't meet your mother's requirements. Seeing that Li Yuan was a little angry, Bai Wuxi quickly took Li Yuan's hand and explained. Hee, hubby, we can already settle in the Magic City. Besides, I don't have to listen to my mother. She can marry my dad for the sake of love, regardless of the objections of her grandparents. Then I can marry you for the sake of love. Li Yuan smiled, did not answer, and ate in silence. Bai Wuxi said so casually today and introduced her family situation, which made him understand how pathetic and ridiculous he was in his previous life. He himself may have never appeared in Bai Wuxi's future plans, but he waited for a full 7 years for her, without any results. 7 years of youth, how many 7 years are there in a person's life? Still the best 7 years. Seeing Li Yuan's sudden silence, Bai Wuxi felt panicked. She didn't know what she said wrong, so she quickly explained. Husband, are you angry with me? What I said is not what you think. My mother is my mother, and I am me. I can only decide my future, and they can't interfere with me. Li Yuan remained silent, and the secretly proud mood just now disappeared without a trace. Bai Wuxi felt anxious, stood up, took Li Yuan's hand, and said coquettishly. Husband, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Please forgive me, please. Li Yuan looked deeply at Bai Wuxi, and the deeply hidden feelings in his heart suddenly faded a lot. He smiled and said, it's okay. How could I be angry over such a trivial matter? I'm not that narrow-minded. Xiaobai, are you full? Seeing Li Yuan's smile, Bai Wuxi felt relieved. Well, I'm full already. Husband, the food you cook is so delicious. I want to eat it every day for the rest of my life. Li Yuan smiled and said, then you lie down on the bed for a while and take a rest. I will clean up the kitchen. Yeah, hubby, thank you for your hard work. After Li Yuan helped Bai Wuxi back to the bedroom, his mood suddenly became a little bad. He was alone in the kitchen and suddenly wanted to smoke a cigarette. After feeling through the pockets, only then did he remember that since he gave his Zippo lighter to Xia's Haijin at the class meeting for the reason of quitting smoking, he had never smoked again. The reason why he smokes is because of trouble. After getting rich, his worries basically disappeared. Li Yuan took out his cell phone from his pocket and turned it on again. A series of messages rushed out. Li Yuan first looked at Xiao Yuer's message. Brother Xiahua, why can't you get through on the phone? Are you coding? I can't sleep at night, I miss you very much. Brother Xiahua, I just sang Confession Balloon at home, I really want to sing it to you at the New Year party, you must come that day. By the way, my grandpa praised me for singing well today. Brother Xiahua, are you still coding? Don't stay up late too often, you have updated a lot and worked very hard. I have told other readers in the fan group not to push for updates. Xiao Yuer's messages are always so cheerful, relaxed, and straightforward. If you miss him, you won't beat around the bush or make excuses. Li Yuan smiled. When he was with Xiao Yuer, he always felt a sense of accomplishment and felt comfortable. Li Yuan looked at Xiao Haijin's message again. She also sent several messages. Li Yuan, I called my grandmother and Ning Ning at night, they missed me very much, and I missed them too. I haven't seen my grandmother and Ning Ning for more than half a month. I miss home very much. Today in the dormitory, Ziyu, Xingxin, and others talked about you again. They all praised you for being very good. Xingxin asked me to ask you if you can teach her to write online articles. Are you busy? The phone is not connected. When you come back, send me a message, I'm waiting for you. Looking at the message sent by Xiao Haijin, Li Yuan could feel from the lines that this treasure girl seemed to have changed a little compared to when he first met Xiao Haijin. But suddenly, he couldn't tell what kind of change it was. Li Yuan continued to flip through the messages. In addition to Xiao Haijin and Xiao Yuer, Zhong Tingyu also sent a message. Senior, I discovered a secret of yours today. Zhong Tingyu's words made Li Yuan's heart tremble. Could it be that his relationship with Bai Wuxi was exposed? It shouldn't be possible, right? If it was really exposed, with Zhong Tingyu's personality, she would delete him directly and block him instead of sending him a message. After all, with Zhong Tingyu's arrogant personality, she would definitely not tolerate him deceiving her feelings. Li Yuan first replied to Zhong Tingyu, Little Moon, what secret of mine did you find? As soon as Li Yuan replied, Zhong Tingyu quickly replied with a message. Senior, you hide it so deeply. Li Dake, Battle Starry Sky, a great writer, right? So it was the secret? That's good. Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief, he thought the other party had known it a long time ago. Li Yuan continued to reply, Xiao Yu, you know everything. Humph, I'm afraid I'm the last one to know. If I hadn't happened to hear my roommate mention it today, I wouldn't have thought it would be you. Li Yuan glanced at Bai Wuxi in the bedroom, and his heart suddenly rose to his throat. He felt that he was getting closer and closer to the explosion on the spot. Ahem, your roommates know me too? I just write an online novel, there's nothing to promote, so I didn't tell you. Zhong Tingyu, Senior, you are too modest. The book Battle of the Stars you wrote is now known to everyone in the whole school. Hee, several of my roommates want you to teach them how to write novels. They asked me to ask you something. Li Yuan asked curiously, ha ha ha, am I so famous now? Why do you all want to write novels? Zhong Tingyu, Senior, you are a great writer with a monthly income of 1 million. Do you know how much the monthly living expenses of ordinary college students like us are? Only 600, haha, are you surprised? Li Yuan was surprised. In his previous life, he once set a record of spending less than 300 yuan a month. It's just to save money to buy gifts for someone, to swell up his face, to pretend to be a rich second generation. But in a high consumption place like Magic City, it's impossible to pretend. Li Yuan thought about Zhong Tingyu's clothes and dressing style, which were all well-known brands. Her family conditions should be very good, and she didn't look like she was short of money. He asked curiously, Xiao Yu, you should not be short of money, right? Zhong Tingyu asked back, Li Dake, how do you know that she is not short of money? Li Yuan wanted to say that he felt it by touching her legs. Last night, Zhong Tingyu's stockings seemed to be Balenciaga brand, with very good quality and a nice feel. While Li Yuan was still thinking about how to reply, Zhong Tingyu sent another text message, "Senior, Tingro and Shanshan asked me to ask if you have time tomorrow night. They want to treat you to dinner." Li Yuan's heart was startled, and he was a little overwhelmed. Su Tingro and Ding Shanshan knew him. They had eaten together in the cafeteria and had barbecue together. They knew that he and Zhong Tingyu had an unusual relationship. In their eyes, he and Zhong Tingyu were childhood sweethearts, with a close relationship, even a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Bai Wuxi was also their roommate, so they were too close. If one of them accidentally let the cat out of the bag, it would be a big deal. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 140. Li Yuan's heart was in his throat and his head was a little dizzy. He felt like he was walking on a tightrope and could fall over at any time. As long as Bai Wuxi and Zhong Tingyu casually talked about their boyfriends and revealed a little information when chatting with the girls, he would explode. A picture has already appeared in Li Yuan's mind. Zhong Tingyu, Xiao Bai, which school is your friend in? Bai Wuxi, in Ardaxia University. Zhong Tingyu, what a coincidence, my boyfriend is also in Daxia University. So which department is your boyfriend in? Bai Wuxi, computer science, freshman. Zhong Tingyu, what a coincidence, me too. Bai Wuxi, my boyfriend is a great writer. The Battle of the Stars he wrote is very popular and can earn $1 million a month. Zhong Tingyu, that's too coincidental. We both have a common boyfriend. This picture is too beautiful, Li Yuan dare not look at it. So, how should I answer? Li Yuan was a little panicked. Li Yuan was not worried about Bai Wuxi. Their relationship was already like this. They had broken through the last step. Even if Bai Wuxi chose to leave him, he would only feel a little regretful, but not too sad. But Zhong Tingyu was different. This kind of cold and perfect goddess really had a strong fatal attraction to him. After the solo dance and kiss under the moonlight that night, he was completely moved by Zhong Tingyu. Now, the relationship between the two has exceeded the relationship between ordinary friends. If they are real boyfriends and girlfriends, there may be a little distance, but it is definitely not far. After all, there is no ordinary friend who is willing to kiss you and wear black clothes for you. Li Yuan thought about it seriously and really didn't know how to answer. If the Shura field really broke out, would he just give up Zhong Tingyu? If that was the result, he was really unwilling in his heart. But he couldn't think of any good way. Unless he could show his value, a value that Zhong Tingyu would not choose to leave him in the first place even if the Shura field broke out. Only in this way can we keep the hope of being with Zhong Tingyu. Should we speed up the Little Moon attack plan? Thinking of this, Li Yuan was a little upset and cursed inwardly. You said that you would only go for sex and not for love. You said that you would be a scumbag and a sea king in this life. Why are you in love again? You can't bear to give up this and that. Li Yuan, you were a bootlicker in your last life, and it's hard to change your nature in this life. You are still affectionate, but you have more objects of affection. While Li Yuan was thinking, Bai Wuxi's voice came from the bedroom. Husband, are you done washing? Li Yuan replied, I'll be there soon, wait a minute. Yes, I'm waiting for you. Li Yuan was a little upset. The feeling of having several relationships under his feet was really uncomfortable. Especially when he didn't just want to go for sex, once he fell in love, he would fall into it. Xiao Yu, I may be busy at work these days. When I am free, I will invite you to dinner. Li Yuan finally decided to reveal a little about himself to Zhong Tingyu to show his value. Otherwise, once the Shura field breaks out, he may really lose her and miss this perfect goddess who can be called the ideal of the world. As Li Yuan expected, Zhong Tingyu responded soon after this reply was sent out. Senior, you already have a company. Li Yuan replied, well, it's just a small business. I'm going to make some investments. Do you want to join us? Zhong Tingyu replied, with me? I'm very poor and don't have money to invest. Li Yuan smiled and said, I do. I pay and you work. It's not tiring to work with a man and a woman. You're studying business administration, so it's a good match. Humph, senior, you want to trick me into doing hard labor. Besides, I'm just a freshman and I've already attended the first day of class. How could that be? With our relationship, how could I cheat you? He, Senior Li Yuan, then tell me, what is our relationship? Li Yuan smiled. This is something that Zhong Tingyu can say. It's a bit like the feeling of two men and women who have a good impression of each other when they are in love. Speaking of which, he is very familiar with this feeling of more than friendship, but less than lovers. He has experienced it many times in his previous life. In this life, Baiwixi is not to mention. After the college entrance examination, she was the one who took the initiative to pursue him, and then Li Yuan found the right opportunity to win him over. During the whole process, although there were some tugs of war, it was not much. For Xia's Haijin, a simple and naive girl, he took the initiative to attack and win her over. Most of the time, Xia's Haijin just responded stupidly, and there was no tug of war at all. Her simplicity made people feel distressed. And Zhang Ziyu was even more different. She had an admiring attitude towards herself. She didn't need Li Yuan to take the initiative to pull her. Xiao would take the initiative to express her love, let alone pull. Only Zhong Tingyu seemed to be pulling each other. From the time we first met, we chatted occasionally, then met at night, made up lies, expressed true feelings after drinking, danced waltz under the moonlight, and were tempted by Hsi. It has continued until now, and it can be considered a real tug of war. Li Yuan has the will but not the courage, and he is not strong enough to deal with Baiwixi, Xia's Haijin, and Zhang Ziyu, and he doesn't dare to provoke Zhong Tingyu. As for what Zhong Tingyu was thinking, Li Yuan could guess a little. This cold goddess in her previous life might have some feelings for him, but due to her family constraints, she was hesitant and didn't dare to approach him, but she had expectations. Just as she said, she was the little moon bound in the well. Li Yuan had a lot of thoughts in his mind. Looking at the message sent by Zhong Tingyu, he asked back, Little moon, what do you think of our relationship? Senior, I asked first, but you didn't answer me. You answer me first, and then I will answer you. Little moon really knows how to pull. This is perfect. If I take the opportunity to confess, I wonder what will happen. Will she agree directly, or will she refuse and continue to pull? Li Yuan thought to himself. He suddenly felt that pulling seemed to be the instinct of most girls. She smiled and replied, if I misunderstood, it would be very embarrassing, so I won't say it for now. Senior, you are really good at lying, you have aroused my curiosity. Li Yuan thought to himself, in this situation, whoever is honest first will be a clown. Anyway, he is not in a hurry. Xiao Yu, let's discuss it in detail when we meet. Li Dake, do you still want to be like last night? I don't want to. Li Yuan's eyes lit up. The feeling last night was really good, even if it was plain, but it was also a different taste. Just about to reply, Baiwixi's voice came again in the bedroom. Husband, are you not done washing yet? I'm scared alone. Scared of you, big head ghost. Li Yuan was speechless, and replied to Baiwixi casually, and temporarily stopped pulling with Zhong Tingyu. Damn, why do I feel so, Sonny? My wife is waiting in the bedroom, and my husband is chatting with King Gren in the kitchen. Li Yuan drove away the messy thoughts in his mind, and replied to Zhong Tingyu's message with 2 fingers flying. He, Xiao Yu, I won't talk to you for now, I'm typing, life and death speed. It's really not easy to make some money these days. Oh, then senior, you right, take care of yourself, don't stay up late, bye. Bye, good night. After finishing the chat with Zhong Tingyu, Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief, looked at his phone again, and replied to Xia Zhaijin and Zhang Ziyu respectively. Zhaijin, I'm typing, I'm too busy recently, I don't have time to write, I owe too many chapters, I have to work harder to make up for it. Xiaoyuer, sorry, I was typing just now, I didn't check my phone, I owe hundreds of chapters to update, people can't go back on their words, I have to make up for it and fulfill my promise to add more chapters. After replying to the message, Li Yuan directly turned his phone to silent mode. When he came to the bedroom, Bai Wuxi was lying on the bed playing with her phone. When she saw Li Yuan coming in, she immediately opened her arms with a smile. Hubby, hug me. Li Yuan looked at Bai Wuxi's appearance and felt deeply moved. Once she completed the transformation from a girl to a woman, her attitude was completely different from before. The gentle land is indeed a tomb for heroes. With Bai Wuxi, 3 hours have passed unknowingly, which seriously affected the speed of typing. Li Yuan walked over with a smile and whispered in Bai Wuxi's ear, Xiao Bai, is your body healed? Bai Wuxi blushed, rolled her eyes at him, and snorted. Hubby, don't let you do bad things, I just want to chat with you. We haven't chatted together for a long time. Li Yuan felt a little regretful. He originally wanted to test the limit of his physical strength after rebirth. Although the old oxen that plowed the fields were not exhausted, the fields had lost their fertility and needed to be slowly cultivated to accumulate fertility. However, this was also because the fields were newly reclaimed, and things would be different after a while. Li Yuan felt a little tired, yawned, and asked, Xiao Bai, you've been tired all day, aren't you sleepy?